Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Beyond Business Podcast. Before we jump into today's sit down, here is a word from the sponsors making it all happen. Let me introduce you to a game changer in the world of content creation, Opus Clip. Imagine a powerful app that transforms your longer videos into engaging bite-sized reels that not only capture attention, but also promote your brand, your business, or even you. Most of you have seen the Beyond Business reels of past guests or even me flowing through your feed as you scroll. Well, I love to take credit for the hard work of editing and posting to multiple platforms, multiple times per week, but Opus Clip does it all for me. With Opus Clip, you don't have to be a video editing whiz to create stunning clips that resonate with your audience. This intuitive app does all the heavy lifting for you, automatically crafting highlights that shine perfect for social media, marketing campaigns, or simply sharing your creative genius with the world. Ready to elevate your content game? Scan this QR code or head to the link in the description to unlock the full potential of Opus Clip. Let your creativity flow and watch your engagement soar. Scan the link now and it will stay open in your browser until you finish watching this episode. Then get back over there and start creating captivating reels today. Your brand deserves to shine, and Opus Clip is here to help you do just that. If you're looking for top-notch drone services, look no further. Aerial Elite Solutions specializes in providing high-quality aerial imagery and data for a variety of industries, including real estate, solar panel inspection, construction, agriculture, transmission and distribution, and more. Whether you need stunning photos to showcase a property, detailed site surveys for your construction projects, anomaly detection for your solar panels, or captivating footage for your events, Aerial Elite Solutions has the expertise and cutting-edge technology to deliver exceptional results. Their team of skilled professionals is dedicated to capturing breathtaking visuals that elevate your projects and help you see things from a whole new perspective. With Aerial Elite Solutions, you're not just getting a service, you're getting a partner committed to bringing your vision to life. So if you're ready to take your business to new heights, literally, reach out to Aerial Elite Solutions today. Visit flyaes.com or call 217-330-7226 to learn how they can help you transform your projects with their services. As we all know, storm season can bring unpredictable weather, and protecting your home, business, and family is more important than ever. That's where Midwest Lightning Rods comes in. With nearly 100 years of experience in lightning protection system design and installation, they are the trusted experts in keeping your property safe from the dangers of lightning strikes. Midwest Lightning Rods specializes in creating customized solutions tailored to your specific needs, ensuring your home is a safe haven during the storms. Their dedicated team understands the importance of safety and offers free estimates to help you decide the best protection for your property. Don't leave your safety to chance. Reach out to Midwest Lightning Rods today and give yourself peace of mind knowing you're well protected. Visit lightningstrikes-weprotect.com or give them a call at 217-872-4676 to learn more about how you can become a part of the community that's been protected by MLR. Another thank you for the sponsors for supporting the podcast and helping us bring this great content. If you or your business would like to be a part of sponsoring the podcast, don't hesitate on reaching out at beyondbusiness217@gmail.com. Now let's get into it.
Welcome to Beyond Business, where stories come alive. With guests from every corner, we're ready to dive. New episode every 5 days, new voices to share. Laughs and insights, we're all in this affair. Beyond Business, come take a seat. Join the conversation, it's a journey that's sweet. Life lessons learned and laughter from the heart. With every episode, we're making a start.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Beyond Business. Joining me today, I'm thrilled to get to sit down with the head coach of football for the Big Blue. Billy Reebok is in the house. Thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you been the coach, or is this a new gig?
This is new. So first day was December 16th.
Okay. Was this a promotion or a relocation?
Relocation.
Okay.
So coming from Midwestern state in Wichita Falls, Texas. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so excited to be back and, have this opportunity.
Oh, yeah. This is cool, man. I'm excited for you. So let's go back with you just for a minute. High school, where'd you go to school at?
St. Teresa.
Oh, you're local.
Yes. Yep. So born and raised from Decatur. Family still in the area. My sister, Andrea Dorsey's the head coach at St. Teresa women's basketball. They went on their run. So my bunch of family still in the area.
So you're back home.
Very much so.
Oh, that's cool. So how long? Okay, have you been gone since college in your professional career until now?
It's been about 18 years.
Oh, yeah.
We've been gone. So, what I think my wife was counting up, it's been like 10 moves that we've made, getting to this point.
Yeah.
And, each one was its own, pluses and minuses.
Sure.
And it kind of developed and made us who we are.
Yeah.
And got us to this point, which we're really excited about.
Oh, that's awesome. So when in high school, did you play ball?
Yes, I played for Scott Davis,
Davis,
St. Teresa, and did that, and was into basketball, baseball, all that, did it all. And
I was going to say I went to Macon that became Meridian, so same size school, and it was. I was going to say, if you did something, you're doing. What happened, right?
No question, right?
Yeah, I come now and I go, wait, this school's called Ocall.
I hear you.
But
I hear you.
It's a new day, right?
No question.
Well, I'll tell you what I think is kind of nuts is, and maybe you would have insight on an opinion here. They have combining these schools so they can formulate a team, and we're talking some of them are 3 and 4 schools to get 20 kids to play football or 12 kids to play baseball. That is insane to me. It seemed like we didn't ever have an overload, but we only had 100 boys and 30 of them were playing. It was just kind of how it went. And so now even everywhere, when my son's a St. T kid now.
Oh, nice.
Yep. He's a freshman. And I guess now is when I'm getting introduced to going, what's the schedule? Okay, it's in Lovington, but it's called something else or whatever. It's a whole bunch of. And so what do you, I guess you've been on a collegiate level, so you get the guys who are ready to ball, but do you have kids?
Yes, 3.
How old?
9, 7, and 2. Or excuse me, 3.
Okay,
9, 7,
so 9 and 7. Are they into sports yet?
Yes, very much so.
Well, so do you notice that yet, that the interest is just completely different than it was? I mean, I guess we can blame our phones and shit like that, which is probably pretty solid. But.
Yeah, I think it could be a bunch of different factors. First you have to look at the population trends where everybody's moving.
Yeah.
Things like that. I think it's a different type of kid.
Sure.
Probably compared to when you and I were being brought up. There's a lot more opportunities that can take away their interest.
This is true.
And then I think it's like everything, right? It just kind of circles back. And I think what I've noticed, and I can just speak for my own children.
Sure.
Like my daughter's softball team, they have so many that they had to divide into 3 teams.
Really?
For her age group. So it's, I think it's trending the right way.
Right.
And I think it all goes back to, being able to provide that experience that keeps their interest. Where, I see, being in Texas for 8 years, where you went to church and you played football, or sports. It was that was the life down there. But I think what they did a really good job, and then what I've noticed so far being back, is that when you have the right leadership, and that's why I think it's so important. In terms of, at the very young ages, all the way up, through high school, that you're creating an environment where you're teaching and keeping the interest. So, like probably when you were coming up, once you got to high school, that was like you were peaking at the right
Oh
time.
yeah.
You weren't
Been
burnt.
waiting on this. Right.
No doubt. Like I remember, when Coach Davis would let us step foot onto that field, at St. Teresa, like it meant something.
It did.
You didn't touch it in third, fourth grade.
Yeah.
Where I think now, some of that, expectation kind of, the ambiance, so to speak.
Right.
You lose that because everybody thinks we got to be doing it, in kindergarten.
Yes.
And it wasn't like that.
Right.
And I think the more you make things special and unique, you can cultivate that and build that quote unquote anticipation
to be a part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. Because on the other hand, it is cool when you see like, okay, it's whatever, flag football day. And I mean, it's an event, but most of a lot of the younger kids want to leave anyway. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's not like,
I've been at football camps where like, we did this camp last year, and it was July and it was hot as heck, in Wichita, and a kid brought a Harry Potter book, with pictures and all this. Oh yeah. And he was under, the shade, so to speak. And I swear it was like half the camp wanted to go hang out with this kid. And I'm just like, well, okay, they wrote the check.
I was going to say,
their check
your
clears.
parents are not going to like the turnout of this.
Exactly. So I think it's just, but it's creating those events. And, I look at my own kids. I'm not worried about, quote unquote, how many jerseys they have, where we're traveling, all that. Let's practice. Let's get better.
Right.
Because a lot of things can happen between, kindergarten, high school, even at the collegiate level.
Right.
And I think if parents just create that environment where they can let their kids go explore multiple things.
Yeah.
I'm still a big believer in that. Like,
agreed.
Don't specialize too soon. And I think that lowers the risk of injuries.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Some of the stories I've heard have been mind-boggling, in that regard. So, that's my personal.
Well, and it's a good point of going, hey, I love football, I love baseball, but if I happen to have a pianist here that can throw down on the keys, then let's figure this out and do it. Yeah.
I think let them find their own path and support them and try to provide all the resources necessary to go follow their dreams.
So I have a 27-year-old, I'm 47 this year, and I have a 27-year-old daughter, 2 grandkids that are back to back. Like she didn't understand how that worked, I don't think, the first time.
I gotcha.
And so they're 6 and 7. And so we're talking first year of softball. They're split up now to where they're not together. T-ball, that was almost co-ed-ish for a year or two. So we got little man's in baseball. She's in softball. And my daughter is like, because I've coached my son and I'm kind of, I'm more of an old school coach. I stopped coaching, I think, because of that. So I'm not built for whatever.
I got you. Yeah,
so,
new age.
Yeah. And anyway, so she's like, oh man, she's like, they suck, don't they? I'm like, yeah. But are you just looking at your kid?
Right.
That's because I'm like, look, the key is this. Sign him up for soccer. Sign him up for flag football. Sign her up. Same thing. I go, there's nothing that you're going to introduce them to at 7th grade that they're going to like if they've never played. I liked every sport because I thought I was good at everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could shoot hoops. We grew up with wiffle ball bats and a Pizza Hut basketball all summer. We were straight,
Yeah.
And I think, of course, it is challenging. And, I think people take the whole, I let my kid decide what they want to do. That's not really what people mean. It means put options out there. You still have to, if you start, finish. If you,
No, I think like you said, if, like I know a rule in our house, if you started something, even if you didn't like it, you were going through to the end, then if you didn't want to do it, you don't have to. Fine.
Right.
But, it's teaching those lessons. And I think one of the things we should be worried about early on, not only developing great respect for your opponent, things like that. I think those are givens. But I just think the competition, like learn to compete, learn to work.
It's healthy.
Exactly. Because those things can carry on, whether you're in piano, theater, sports, whatever.
Business, dude.
Exactly. And I think, that's what I enjoy, and that's what I like seeing. I mean, at that level and that age, I mean, I could care less
Right.
about the score. And some people do. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you've been,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you sit and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is huge, huh?
You know,
Yeah.
but I'm more worried about are my son and daughter running on and off the field?
Right.
You know, the body language. How do you handle failure?
Yeah.
You know, you're going to strike out.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean we go cry.
I love that we are entering the age of now you know what your job, you know, you can kind of have a half-ass adult conversation to where, you know, expectations versus.
Yeah. There's
as soon-
accountability.
Yeah. As soon as I got to the
consequences.
point where it was that age, it's when I figured like, okay, no one wants me to get in there, you know, or come here. You know, nobody wants
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, Davis had his time and place. Coach Davis had his,
I think
he was
a legend,
amazing, dude.
you know, and I think, but you know, people say that. I think he'd be great, in my opinion, in any era because he was disciplined, consistent, and fair. You know, and
Yeah.
I think that's all you can ask
Keys.
for. Exactly.
Yeah.
You knew what you were getting.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if it was a 6 a.m. workout
Right.
or it was a 2-a-day at 7
Yeah.
o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You knew what to expect. You knew the expectations, and as long as you did them,
Right.
it was unbelievable.
Right.
You know, I'd do anything for the man.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so.
Oh, he was I hated him till I loved him. I only hated him 4 years.
Yeah,
right?
I hear you.
Hated him and all you guys. But, yeah, now I'm trying to get one on the team.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it is. I think that every generation, you know, I know my parents looked at us like we were idiots most of the time. And then now we go, what are you soft? What are you guys doing?
Right.
But man, there's some tremendous athletes that are young. So it's like, I don't know who's doing something wrong or right, but they exist, you know?
No,
It's
I
just
think
finding it. But
yeah, I think the skill set,
yeah.
this day and age of athletes, you know, at all ages, I think is. But I was just talking with my sister about this, like the skill set and the talent. You could say I think has gotten better, but I think and it stands out. You notice those that have the IQ for the game. That's where I think this day and age might be a little bit behind
Okay.
because there's maybe so much more opportunities to do it. And like, you know, like with my kids, you can get into tennis,
Yeah.
golf, all these things that, you know, when I was growing up, they weren't as readily available,
Yeah.
you know, because there weren't as many people in places doing them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're constantly here where like, you know, I was baseball, football, basketball. So
Right.
that's all. If that's all you're doing, you're gonna
Yeah.
get better at it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, instead of your time being divided in other areas.
Yeah. Hell, they got archery, fishing.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, what? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
The more opportunities, the better.
Right.
You
yeah.
know, but there's always a give and take.
But yeah, I think you're right. There was not a single thought I had to go into. It was like once junior high hit, we got to add a sport, and I got to not do track, and then
Yeah.
it was like high school. Yeah, we know what it is. It's year round.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's the way it goes.
No, but that was good. Well, it also forced us to be around our friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's where we socialized, was at practice after practice. You know what I mean? Whatever everyone was doing after games, before game, you know, that was cool.
Yeah.
I don't regret not growing up in the everything you do is recorded and everybody's too many phone calls away. You know what I mean? I like it. But so where'd you go to school, college?
So I went to Quincy University.
Okay.
Played quarterback there, and
Oh, nice.
then once I graduated from there, you know, kind of.
Did you play play out, or did you just play a season or two, or did you go the whole route?
I was all 4 years.
Oh, nice.
There, you know, learned again. Talk about a culture shock. I'll never forget this. I get there, you know, and it's you transition. You know, your senior year of high school. You know, you're on top, so to speak. You know.
Yeah, I love this part that you're going to go.
And then you get into you know, college, and I'll never forget. I'm out there. It was like maybe practice 2 or 3, if I'm being honest, and the install was overwhelming at that time. You know, I remember thinking like I was writing down flashcards just to remember the plays because however many we did, right?
You're like, this ain't the football I know.
Right. You know,
Right.
totally different language, everything. And it was awesome.
Right.
But I'll never forget. I get up there, and without realizing it, I said the cadence to snap the ball, not knowing that I said the cadence. And I froze, and the whole line, we were blocking outside zone to the left. I'll never forget. Everybody's running outside zone to the left, and I'm just kind of standing there, and I get tattooed, and that was,
Whoa,
you better wake up.
Yeah.
And I learned real quick, if you're not going to prepare, these guys don't care.
Right.
You have people, and you're playing in college, even back then, you're with, 18 all the way, we had a guy 26 years old.
Right.
So you got a bunch of different people at different walks of life.
Sure.
Some have kids, some are married, some are this, that, from all over the United States. We had a kid, what do we have? 2 or 3 from Europe, 1 from Canada. So, you're dealing with all these different things, and it's a lot different than
just a melting pot that you're not used to being in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're either going to sink or swim,
right?
And you either learn to adjust and adapt. And I'll tell you, that never happened to me again.
I was going to say, so did you end up, honestly, having that kind of a talent pool? It does probably makes it that much better where you're going, oh, I got a stud everywhere?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, our starting running back was a transfer from the University of Arkansas.
Oh, nice.
And and he ended up, he broke every record.
Yeah.
And could not, LeVar Ammons, and he's from Chicago, Illinois, and he could not have been a greater leader, greater person.
Really?
Just salt of the earth. But then, and he had a unique story how he had to end up at Quincy. It wasn't for lack of talent. It was just, things happen.
Yeah.
You adjust and make the best of it. But then you learn, here's a guy that was in the SEC, and he's at Quincy University in Quincy, Illinois.
Yeah.
So you better put your ego aside real quick.
Right. This is big time.
Big time is wherever you're at.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you're Division 3, 2.
Yeah.
That's it. This day and age with the transfer portal. We're seeing it right now. We got guys from all over the United States that are visiting campus, and if you were an outsider looking in, we're a rebuilding program. At Millikin, and the type of talent we can still attract, that just shows you the amount of people out there that are vying for these spots. So it's funny when I talk to high school recruits, I always say, I said, hey, you got to have a dose of reality right now, is that, the way you're acting and the way you're looking at this recruiting process is going to be way different than the 20-year-old, with this new house settlement where your roster can only be 105 at the Division I level. Well, there's going to be a lot of kids cut. Right. Well, how do you think that kid that's been in college 2 years that just got told he can't be on the roster and is now in the transfer portal thinking he's 2 years from getting a degree?
Right.
He just had the rug pulled out from under him. His perspective, he doesn't care about the jerseys.
Right.
Or the photo shoots.
Yeah,
he's dealing with
life is happening.
Exactly. So it's just, you deal with both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. Well, so I'm sure you're familiar with Josh Joseph.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I had him in here. I was school. Well, he went to school out there with me. Yeah.
Great coach.
And I had
congrats.
Yeah. And so I had a couple nephews that graduated, played in his football program. He seems to end up at the U of I playing a game annually, pretty much.
Sounds like it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is. So, but you just touched on something. I knew where you were kind of going to, but it led to you getting tattooed. But he said a lot of people, because I think that's what threw me off. I'm just a regular fan, right? And I see if you're going to at least the semifinals 10, 20 years in a row, then you're sending a lot of kids to play college football. And he was like, no, not necessarily.
Not as many as you think.
Not as many as you think. And years back, 5, 6 years ago when I had ran into him, we had kind of the same conversation. And he goes, well, do you encourage someone who is living their best life, who is going to go to college and they're going to pursue their education? Mm-hmm. Do you talk them into going and being, they're going from right here to being low man,
Yeah.
I guess maybe the reality is some people you can know are or are not cut out for it. You don't want to send someone to fail.
No,
I'm going to play college ball, come back at Christmas, never mind. No, I don't want to do that. But so it was a valid, really valid point where we just picture, well, you're a stud, go be a stud.
Yeah, no, and I think that's why it's a special person.
For sure.
That's going to stick it out, go through it. and there's a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
There's way, it's a way higher level of competition. And I don't care what level.
It's the weeding out process,
NAI,
right?
JUCO,
yeah.
And you find out how much you truly love it.
Yeah.
Because it's, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, it's still a game. It's a great game, but it's also, it determines people's livelihoods.
Mm-hmm.
There's money involved. It's a business.
Yes.
And there's consequences. Whereas, and I think one of the things that's different in high school, you're going to get what's ever in your district, right? You're inheriting that, and it kind of is what it is. Well, the beauty and what I love is that I can go select.
Yeah.
So then I'm taking on my own problems. I'm creating my own problems or solutions.
Yeah.
So I have nobody else to blame but myself.
Okay.
I don't blame the way the district's aligned, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when you do that, you're dealing with, obviously, kind of like you said, a much greater talent pool.
Right.
So, and you're trying to get, obviously, we talk about all the time, we want those apex predators, right? And people joke, but you want those alphas.
Yep.
And when you put those all in a room,
it works.
Some people can't handle that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it, like you said, it's going to weed itself
Yeah.
out. If you're
too many big dogs. Man.
Yeah.
And you're going, no, we want all the big dogs with their heads right.
Yeah.
You eventually get it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why everybody's like, you bring in these recruiting classes. Oh, you're worried about numbers or this, or bringing in so many quarterbacks. No, because the best ones are going to stay.
Right.
And those guys are going to make us really good. And then it's my job to go try to out-recruit them, while the guys I have now, I keep developing to hopefully keep getting better. And if I can do that, what have we created? It goes back to what we were saying, what I want for my kids, competition.
Right.
If we can get to that and keep that going and do it the right way, good things will happen.
Yeah, it's a great perspective. So how many years have you coached?
17.
So when you got done playing ball, you went and started coaching?
I was, it was either that or law school.
Okay.
And I was only going to do law school just because I really didn't know. I knew I wanted to be around sports. I knew my dream was to buy the Dallas Cowboys.
All right.
Obviously I'm trending the complete opposite of that. But, I just thought it'd buy me time to keep figuring things out. And a guy I played with, he was a senior when I was a freshman, Craig Harmon. He's now the quarterback coach at Ball State.
Okay.
But at the time, he was the offense coordinator at St. Francis, which is a small NAI school in Joliet, Illinois. He had a GA wide receiver position open at the time, and he said, "Hey, you want to come do this and get your master's?" I have a bunch of cousins in the Chicago area.
Okay.
So it.
You're like, go be around some football.
No doubt. Yeah, it was perfect.
Make some money, get some education, hang out with your people.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's, and then next thing you know, here we go. Here we are.
Screw law school.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I think that would be, we saw it here with Lovey. Remember years back?
Oh, yeah.
They brought him to Champaign, and it was like, all right, man, you had a couple years going. I don't know what solution we thought bringing an NFL coach was just going to magically make everyone better. But, he was popular for 1 second. And then it was like, looked at him as the biggest failure ever. And I'm like, I don't really think you can, or maybe I'm wrong. I guess college, you can turn a team over pretty quick, can't you?
Yeah. In this day and age, with the transfer portal and.
What's up? What's your take on, or what's your opinion on paying college kids? You think that's been a great idea that should have been happening all along? Or are you like, no, you should earn getting paid?
I think if you can make money, who are we to say you can't? I think the issue is not so much the athletes getting paid, it's the rules on the transfers.
You're not going to have a 4-year kid anywhere.
That's the issue. You talk about team building, creating your program, things like that. I think that's the issue where maybe we as coaches, the NCAA, whatever you want to call it, have maybe dropped the ball. And I think we're in the process of fixing that because, multiple transfer portals or transfer windows.
Right.
That creates issues. So, you go through spring ball, you think you have your team intact, and now those kids can leave if they don't like their spots. Somebody else is bidding for them. All of that, and all of this stuff. Like I laugh. You ever watch that 30 for 30?
Oh yeah,
SMU.
Oh yeah.
And at the point, like it's basically the same stuff going on. It's just now it's legal.
Right. Right.
And I think but the amount of money and the things that are being thrown around, the players are the reason that this is, turned into the monster it is. Let's call it what it is.
That's kind of was my take is I think we just added something very complicated. I agree with the statement. Hey, if you can get out of college, if you don't go pro and have a little nest egg already because you were good in college, that's great.
Yeah.
But you're going to go to school 4 different places now.
Yeah, I think that's the part that
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because essentially, if you're not at the top, I don't even know who the best college ball team is right now, or let's just go basketball. If you're not at Duke, then everywhere you go along the way is trying to get there in 4 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To where it's like, come on.
Yeah, no, it's you end up going to the highest bidder,
right?
More often than not.
It turns into a little bit too much of a business at an educational facility.
Yeah, it's. I think you got to figure out what you are as an institution.
Yeah.
What are your value and what's your mission?
Right.
And then you got to stay true to it.
Yeah.
Knowing that not everybody's going to align with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah, because it does go both ways. If you go play ball at Quincy and you're the quarterback and they sell 1 million of your jerseys in their team store and you're borrowing gas money, that sucks.
Right. Yeah, rightfully so.
But it's also like if you sold 1 million jerseys, I feel like you're going to be okay.
Right. Exactly.
So I don't know. It's a tough one. I can't believe they did it. I think maybe more than anything, it was like, look, enough of it's going on anyway.
Yeah.
Let's just do it so we know and can tax it eventually.
Yeah. No. And that's like, and that's where you talk about the education of players and things like that.
Yeah.
Guys, when all this first started, they didn't know like, hey, you're going to be taxed on that money.
Right.
You're going to, there's stipulations.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I think, we as the adults have to do a great job of educating.
Yes.
And providing. And I think we're trending towards that, which is good to see.
Again, I think it's one of those, it's like, maybe there needed to be a few more years of preparing. You know what I mean? It almost seems like it just went into effect and it's like, let's sort it out now. And it goes, well, it's a terrible.
Well, and you know what? I think sometimes.
Or you don't know the problems till you have them, I guess.
Yeah, you do some things with the greatest of intentions.
Right.
And then you get humans involved. And then, people are going to figure out a way to get an edge.
Yeah.
That maybe, the average person or the person with the right mindset or doing it for the right reasons didn't think of.
Yeah.
So when you throw money, the ability to make money, and the interest that football can drive, you're dealing with people from all walks of life.
Right.
And
that's it. It's like, I mean, I think that's it. I think 19, 20 years old, you should have a trainer, a coach, probably a tutor. You shouldn't need a accountant, and banker, and your parents to tell you what to do with your money. Like, that's just a lot. I just feel like it's just a lot. But again,
first world problems. That's what I would say. It's good problems to have.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. So, whenever you left out of Illinois, when you got done coaching in Illinois, where'd you go? Or when you initially coached to sink your teeth in a little bit, where did you?
So went from St. Francis to Indiana.
Okay.
Worked for Bill Lynch there.
All right.
That was a great experience. And the only reason I had that opportunity is because, unfortunately, Coach Terry Hepner, passed away from cancer.
Oh.
So then they elevated Coach Lynch, who was the offensive coordinator at the time, up to head coach, and then that kind of bumped everybody up, and there became an analyst job open there, and we had a great year. Ended up going to a bowl game.
Nice.
Then from there went back to Quincy as the offense coordinator.
Okay.
Was there for 4 seasons. Then after that, went to Ball State.
Okay.
For 2 as a GA on offense there. That was that 2-year period was I would say, football 101 for me. I was around a great staff, worked for Pete Limbo, Rich Skrosky, Jay Bateman, just in the whole staff is.
So is the
divisional.
goal at that stage to end up being the head coach somewhere, or are you like, not necessarily? I'm just.
I think I'd be lying to you if I said I never wanted to be a head coach.
Okay.
But I think at that point in time, I found out real quick being around people like that, how much I didn't know.
You're like, yep, let me keep soaking some up.
And that education, that 2-season, I should say, experience was phenomenal.
Right.
Like I shared an office with Keith Gaither, who's now at Virginia.
Right.
And just how he recruited, how he coached the wide receiver room. I was exposed to things I'd never been exposed to, and I think I would encourage everybody. I worked for David Bailiff at Rice and then at Texas A&M Commerce, and he always said, chase responsibility, don't chase money, and I think maybe early on I had that flipped.
Right.
You know what I mean? And,
typical young kind of,
and I think that Ball State experience was chasing the responsibility that made me and allowed me to have these other opportunities later on.
Well, and I think, again, maybe it just takes a certain kind of person, but to be able to continuously kind of walk into situations where you're not the best or smartest in the room and go, right, perfect, I'm in the perfect spot.
Exactly.
To where a lot of people can't handle that. They need to feel, rather than be a sponge. A lot of people can't do it, which probably is another weeding out process of people,
right. No, and that's how, like with the staff we've been able to put together at Millikin, everybody has their expertise, and at the end, I have to be the decision maker. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But when we collectively come together, I expect them to, hey, you're the expert in this field.
Right.
Field. Okay, educate me. Let's talk it all out.
Right.
Because to your point, I think when you have that type of ego, pride comes before the fall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and how you win and the people I've been around and worked for, it's less ego, and let's figure it out together. And that's how all these places I've been that you say, hey, might not have all the resources of the people you're going against, but wow, they've won a lot of games.
Right.
You see real quick how they've been able to do it. And it's not rocket science, right? It's treat people with respect, work really hard, have a plan, work the plan, then you plan for the unexpected. You get it done.
Just because you said it quick, don't mean it's not hard.
Yeah, right.
No, but that's awesome. Well, so as a head coach come in, is it like you don't have any staff? How's that?
So,
or you got to fire everyone, or do they go with the coach?
You can do it a bunch of different ways. Some, I've had experiences where, you take over another job, there's still previous staff members there. Some stay, some get fired, some go with the coach wherever they went.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's different depending on each situation.
Gotcha. Well, in yours, was it a rebuild? On your end, or were you walking into a staffed team, or are you like, no, I brought my people?
Yeah, so it was a combination.
Okay.
Where we retained 2 of the previous members, and then I had an idea going into this who I wanted.
Sure.
Because again, I'm all about loyalty.
Right.
Loyalty and trust. We have enough resources in this day and age where, I don't care if you're the greatest football mind. We can fix that. We can go learn. We can educate.
Right.
But I'm more worried about the type of person you are.
Right.
Are you going to be loyal? Can I trust you?
Right.
When you say something, is it what you
mean? There's no research required.
Exactly. That's all I care about.
Right.
Everything else we can fix.
Yeah.
And then are you a good person? Are you going to treat people right? Because again, this could be, I always say, this could be my only chance ever to be a head coach.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to go down, I want to go down for the right reasons, so to speak, not because I was with bad people, lack of trust, some scandal, whatever it may be, right?
Right.
Like I get beat, I can live with that result.
Yep. As long as I'm taking everybody did the best they could, then that's just what it is.
Man.
So whenever you're going to come, how long and I don't know if anything is asking too much, but how long ago, if you got the job in December, was it like something previously that you had known about? Like, do you do homework on?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. So like I had been contacted. They had let go of the previous coach with, I think, like 2-3 weeks to go in the season.
Okay.
So I had some
During the season.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So I'd had some conversations, during that time, and had an idea. And I had always, being from here, I'd always followed Millikin
Sure.
just because it was a hometown team,
home.
right?
Yeah,
so
that's all we got, man.
Right. Yeah. So kept up to date there, but we had no intentions. We were very happy in Texas, my family and I, and it was a great situation. But this was just an opportunity to get back to home, be around family. I know the area, so I know the blueprint. I kind of have an idea how I think we can fix it and how we're going to go about fixing it. So I'm not going in blind. I have connections within the community because, again, it's like we always said, I go back to Coach Bailiff. He said, the reason Texas struggled with the Alamo, right? It's not because we didn't have brave men and women. It was numbers and resources.
Right.
You run out of bullets, you run out of people. So you need those connections within a community because you need not only time, financial support, a like on Facebook.
Yeah.
All that stuff matters.
Yeah.
And if you kind of have that maybe credibility, so to speak, going into a place, it can make what I've found my job a lot easier. And we can advance quicker than maybe, if I was in Maryland.
Somewhere you never, just brand new.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So had you been back to the area in the last 5 years to see how awesome the Millikin campus now looks?
Oh,
with the turf fields and the softball, baseball, football. It looks sweet, dude.
So,
they built several new buildings too.
Yeah. So my sister's a Millikin grad. I've had multiple cousins. So, would always get the information.
Oh, you kind of knew they were keeping it up.
Right. And we'd always come back in the summer.
Okay.
And Christmas when our schedule allowed. So, it's, Millikin's it's and I call it the gym of the Midwest.
It is.
I truly you can get a quality education. I think Decatur's on the uptick.
Yep.
I truly believe that. I know some people might say different, but all you have to do is look at the numbers, look at the people, just the boat races.
Yeah.
The fair, the Maine County Fair was a heck of a deal. Emmett Hall and his people, he can't control Mother Nature.
Right.
You know what I mean? But what they had in the event, those are the things.
That boat races was cool, man.
Oh yeah.
That's
first class, and those are the things they're not just coming to any old community.
Right.
They're doing things because the people here are put in place that produce a quality product.
Right.
And that's just, a microcosm of all these different entities that can touch not only Millikin University, but Millikin football as well. And that's what I'm excited about.
So again, I don't know. So you get in December, you say you take the job. Does that mean it's time to start looking for a house, or you are here in December?
So I went to live with my mom and dad.
So you came back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So my wife and kids, they stayed in Wichita. We finished the semester.
Yep.
Got the house sold. And then they moved up right after Christmas. Put our kids in school here, and then we're still currently looking for a house. So anybody out there, keep us posted.
So do you have a realtor you're working with?
Yes, Tom Brinkotter.
Okay. Yeah, good one.
Yep.
So did you is it like I have to start going and looking for kids? Is that what I mean? Is it like, hey, next season's coming?
Yeah. What's funny is after kind of all the the celebratory stuff. Once all that's done, I'll never forget. I'm sitting down at the desk and I said, "Okay,
need a team.
What do we do now?" I mean, it was kind of an aha moment. Yeah. So then went to work, and we've so far we brought in 67 recruits
on the team.
Right? Yes, sir. So we're not stopping. Yeah, because it's talent acquisition. I'm not some magician or anything.
You go talk to people.
Oh,
I mean, is that how it works? You go and meet with parents and kids and all that
question.
stuff? Or?
It's constant. You're on the phone. Awesome, you're selling your vision. You're highlighting all the things that Millikin can produce and do for your child. You're selling Decatur, the people at Decatur. You're putting people in contact. It's a job that each day is different. which can be good and bad.
Yeah. 65 though. That means we're seeing a different, not that you don't see a different team every year in college, kind of anyway, but we're about to see what you can do. It sounds like.
Yeah. It's, and this is on a short
super
timeline.
short.
So, I'm excited really, we've already started on the 2026s. On that, we have our first junior day coming up.
I have to interrupt this episode for a minute to tell you about the sponsors of the show. Let me introduce you to a game changer in the world of content creation, Opus Clip. Most of you have seen the Beyond Business reels of past guests or even me in your feed while scrolling through social media. Well, I'd love to take credit for the hard work of editing and posting to multiple platforms multiple times per week, but Opus Clip does it all for me. Create an episode, drag and drop it, and enjoy. You don't have to be a video editing whiz to create stunning clips that resonate with your audience. This intuitive app does all the heavy lifting for you, automatically crafting highlights that shine perfect for social media, marketing campaigns, or simply sharing your creative genius with the world. Scan the QR code here to unlock the full potential of Opus Clip and let your creativity flow and watch your engagement soar. Your brand deserves to shine, and Opus Clip is here to help you do just that. Aerial Elite Solutions is a drone service provider specializing in providing high-quality aerial imagery and data for a variety of industries, including real estate, construction, agriculture, and more. Whether you need stunning photos to showcase a property, detailed site surveys for your construction projects, or captivating footage for your events, Aerial Elite Solutions has the expertise and cutting-edge technology to deliver exceptional results. Visit flyaes.com or contact them at 217-330-7226 to learn how they can help transform your projects with their services. With nearly 100 years of experience in the lightning protection system and design and installation industry, Midwest Lightning Rods are the trusted experts in keeping your property safe from the dangers of lightning strikes. Midwest Lightning Rods specialize in creating customized solutions tailored to your specific needs, ensuring your home is a safe haven during the storms. Don't leave your safety to chance. Reach out to Midwest Lightning Rods today and give yourself peace of mind this storm season. Visit lightningstrikes-weprotect.com for more information. Now, let's jump back into the episode.
So, I'm excited really, we've already started on the 2026s. On that, we have our first junior day coming up, June 18th. So all that type of stuff, you give us a whole year. I'm really excited to see what our staff can do. And I feel good about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, huh?
Very much so. It's, the beauty of this thing is that just when you might be getting tired or bored of one aspect, boom, the calendar switches.
Let's go.
And then it's totally different.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I really like about this job.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people don't get that. It's coaching is so much more than just that whistle in your mouth, hollering at kids now and then, and getting a good performance. It's like,
what's kind of sad is that for somebody in my position, it's the least.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing that we do.
Right.
I sit back. We're trying to, schedule, raise funds, recruiting, talking to mom and dad, and then I hear like our offense coordinator, they're talking the X's and O's down the hall. And all that. And in my mind, I'm like jealous, because I'm like,
you guys are doing football.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, they're doing the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all part of it.
Yeah.
And, it's, again, it's a good problem to have.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. I mean, yeah, congratulations on getting the spot, dude.
Thank you.
Especially bringing you back home. Yeah, Millikin's a good school. I know a lot of people who have went there. A lot of people really, at St. T, everybody, it seems like we just are, would love our kids to go to school close to home. So it's right there.
Yeah, no, and I think it's, Millikin's doing a heck of a job, I think, in transforming and becoming, Decatur's University.
Yeah.
Even more.
You're right.
I think anybody can slap a slogan and, say it, but I think what you're starting to see is that the university as a whole, their actions are showing that, between the Big Blue Pledge, things like that, the community involvement, all those different things. And I think, without a doubt, it's a first-class education.
Right.
And if it wasn't, I wouldn't be here, because then what can I sell? I'm not going to be able to get
Right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So
I need you guys to back me with the good education.
No question.
Right.
No question. So that's where, I'm super excited.
Well, so I think it's still considered this, but I mean, I don't look at it like we used to look at it, or it was called, Millikin, like fine arts college or performing arts or something like that. And then so my son looks at it as a sports school. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just I guess maybe because we see it now, but it's like, I don't know. It's really a small, cool campus. I mean, it's just a neat, you know what I mean? It's more of like it's beautiful. They got it built up nice. They keep everything intact there.
They do.
So down in Texas, man, they build high school stadiums, huh?
If you want to call them that, they're the Taj Mahals.
Yeah, that had to be just a whole nother. I'm sure you were just in your glory though. With that's football capital of the United States.
No, you're
Texas.
right. It was. I'll never forget. I'd recruited, the South primarily. I didn't up until moving to Texas. I never really recruited in Texas,
right,
so to speak. And I thought, the best football, in terms of the community involvement, the facilities, everything, Georgia. I was really impressed by that whole state. And then I got to Texas, and oh my gosh,
like, whoa.
When it really hit me is there was this high school, Farmersville, and I'd say probably it's, let's say 45 minutes east of downtown Dallas. Okay. Give or take. And I think it's a school right now, maybe only 230 kids.
Oh.
Not that big.
Right.
And you drive by and they have a 120-yard indoor football facility. And it's just this little farming community, and weight room, everything. And that's where I was like, okay,
they're for real.
Exactly. It's just, that community involvement, the resources, and that's what they do.
Right.
And, and I think, I'll never forget, I was at Mass, my wife and I and the kids and the priest at the time, it was one of the first weekends we were there in Texas, and somehow his homily and message that Sunday was related to the Dallas Cowboys will only win once Jerry Jones passes away. And he said this. And literally half the church went like that. My wife and I looked at it like, oh my God. And then the other half the church was laughing.
Oh.
And, we're like, well, we know where we are right now, so we better win.
Right.
So,
that's classic.
But it was a great experience because, you had the resources, you had the talent.
Yeah.
But it was also, when I was the offense coordinator in schools in Texas, you had a level of expectation.
Right.
Dealing with that, we beat a team 42-14, and you're leaving the press box, and one of our donors was like, it just didn't feel like we, we're that great today, and I'm thinking like, went 42-14, but there's a lot of people that'll pay a lot of money for 42-14.
Yeah, it seems like a beat down.
But that just wasn't. That's the level.
Could have got 80.
Exactly. No, and some people run away from that. I loved it.
Right.
At the time, I was kind of like, ticked off maybe a little bit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, you're like, man, I'd rather work at a place where they think like that.
Than by just thinking when we lose by 2 touchdowns, you guys did great.
Exactly. Like you're not getting a participation trophy down there.
Yeah.
So that's what I loved about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that had to be I would think that would be the culture shock of coming here. I mean, even though like you haven't been here, but you've been soaked in. I mean, in Georgia to Texas. I mean, I think maybe even once the newness of it wears off, that is what is getting breathed.
Yeah, I think, what I'm adjusting to is just there is great coaching.
Yeah.
It's not a difference in coaching. It's not a difference so much in talent. You can say numbers because there's more people down there.
Sure.
I think it's just where what I've noticed throughout the whole state in my short time being back is you can really see the backing, the involvement, people putting their money, time, into truly what they mean. And then it's not that hard. You can just look around and you see the programs that are doing well and having that success in multiple sports.
Right.
It's those communities
that are supporting them.
Exactly.
Right.
It's again, it's not a hard equation.
Yeah.
To figure out.
Right.
And I think that's probably the difference, but, I commend all the coaches here,
right.
And the players. And I just think, like anything, it's educating,
right.
How to go about it. There's a lot of great people that want to do a lot of great things, but they might not know how.
Right.
So.
Well, I would think that would up almost the pressure on you as it goes. All right, you're got to do what you can with what you got on a short time frame. You've done rebuilding as much as you could in a short. But if you go out and kick some butt this year, you're going to get way more support. You know what I mean? It's almost like, okay, if I have to prove this, okay, I guess. I mean, and you even going in, I mean, it's sports, so you don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's face it. I mean, this is awesome. What you got going on here with the podcast and everything. We go 0-10, you're not inviting me back.
Yeah, I will, but you're not going to like it.
But you know what I mean?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And rightfully so. But if we can keep this momentum going,
right,
then it can parlay and jump off into things that maybe I have expectations for, but maybe others don't believe right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I have a certain vision, but it's like anywhere, when you've been, and let's face it, beaten down like this program has for the last couple of years, you have a lot of doubters.
Yeah, confidence diminishes a little bit.
And I get it.
Yeah.
And I get it. But I said, I wasn't a part of that.
Yeah.
These players, it's a new team. These coaches.
It's all new.
So, and I know I've been in the stands and played this community in this area. If you produce a winner.
Oh, yeah. We just want to see, come watch a team whoop some butt, man.
Yeah. People will support you.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you. Why would, nobody says, hey, I want to spend my Saturday afternoon or evening supporting a loser.
Right.
Nobody's going to pay for that.
It is kind of cut and dry.
Exactly.
I mean, it's sports
so
again.
It's black and white, and I think that's what I'm excited about. And it's going to be one of two things. Either we're going to do it or I'm not. I'm going to be fired and you're going to be talking to somebody else. Okay, then that's, I guess, where my question lies in. Surely the expectation isn't for you to come in December and have a good season, or is it like you're the coach for the next 5 years? Or can you build a plan that goes beyond right now? Yeah, I mean, there's a contract involved. Don't get me wrong, but I think they love you until they don't.
Okay,
so everybody can talk about, hey, you got time. All it takes is
how many weeks till football starts.
Exactly.
That's how much time you got.
So it's day to day, month to month. All we're focused on is this upcoming season,
right?
Because tomorrow's promised to no one, right?
Yeah.
So that's my mindset. Excuse me. That's how it's always been. Because in this profession, you never know what's going to happen.
When is opening day for football?
So our first game, we report August 12th.
That's when you guys will start working?
Yes. Well, they're already, we have kids on campus, going through summer workouts, all that type of stuff. But we will start officially preseason camp August 12th.
Okay.
And then our first game, September 6th versus Luther College in Decatur, Iowa.
So is it like anybody who's playing? Is it like they have to? Is August the date they have to be here, or is it like no? If you're on the squad, you're going to be here all summer working out or doing something.
I think now that's the official when everybody has to be here by it. But the unique thing about Millikin and a lot of other universities is I got guys in internships, throughout the United States. I have some guys that they're back on the farm helping mom and dad that have to take care of that stuff, and they're going to be reporting at different parts of the summer. I got some guys who are going to be here the whole summer.
Right.
And then the unique thing, which again, I'm not going to have a great answer for you, is then we have 73 returners.
Okay.
Right? And then you're trying to mix in all these new guys, and then we're still actively recruiting. So we'll have like we have a couple guys that will report Wednesday, of this week.
Okay.
So then they're going to be incorporated. So it's an interesting dynamic, because it's like, hey, how are you? Great. But these people are coming to try to take other people's jobs, create that competition.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to breed.
Is that amongst the guys? Is that, kind of the expectation, or
Yes.
or there's no that chip, right? It's kind of like, hey,
is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you take dude's job, he was good. So good job.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And I think that's what you want.
You do.
The ones that don't think like that, they're going to weed themselves
for
off,
sure.
and they got to go.
Yeah. Makes you work hard. Yeah. You see a couple big boys walk in, you're one of the big boys. You go, oh shit, let me step it up a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's competition.
Oh, that's great. I think, I just think it's exciting. I had no idea. That's all I was thinking is, man, how do you come in and just figure out how to create a team? And you're like, well, we'll see, because I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. Time will tell, right?
So you're literally just taking all these kids and going, all right, I got to come up with 11, 11, and 11 somehow.
Yeah. And it's, you're creating, everybody throws around that word culture, right?
Yeah.
It's really, your standards, your beliefs. And I always go back to, your habits. If you have great habits, no matter what you do, good things are going to happen.
This is true.
So that's what we're trying to create. And, the challenging yet rewarding thing is that each person has their own set of issues, positive and negative, right?
Right.
So then you have to take a lot of time, develop that, put that, it's like a puzzle, and I hate puzzles.
I can't imagine.
But you're putting it all together and figuring it out and, seeing what works. And then I think what I've learned too is that you got to fail fast. When you've
so
made
you can
a
learn
mistake,
quick.
Yeah, make a mistake, okay, we messed up, let's move on, learn from it, let's not do it again. Instead of it goes back to that ego piece, right? I've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
So far.
I'll take the weight. Let's get better.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to admit you're wrong.
Right.
That's another piece.
Well, I think the culture is actually the perfect word for it, is because you're going, if you have people who they understand your vision, first it almost maybe makes it just more comfortable or lessens the pressure. If you're not going, I need you to succeed 100% at your job. I need you. No, I just need everybody to do the best they can. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And let's not be shitty. Check your egos at the door. We're all the same, and we're going to win together if we win.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, if you and I are on a team, your strengths have to make up for my weaknesses.
Right.
And vice versa. And I think that's the exciting part when you're doing that. And, I think the more we're able to train, develop, recruit, share, like you said, share our vision, share our mission. That's why we're out so much in the community. Drumming up. One, it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
I believe in servant leadership.
Sure.
And but it also drums up support.
Yeah.
I've learned, I am not a social media guy.
Right.
But this job has, I've just used Twitter and or X now. I'm sorry. But for recruiting purposes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But being in this position now,
it's kind of a requirement. Huh?
Oh my gosh, I've seen the power of it.
Yeah.
And what it can do, and it's really, I don't want to say scary, but it can be amazing.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Times, and I'm sure dealing with
it's same. I've kind of just it's not been too long that it's been apparent to where it's like, okay, I guess.
It matters.
Yeah, it does matter. Yeah.
And the branding.
And people even go, we won't accept you just not doing that. You know what I mean? You can't just go, well, I just don't do that. Well, sure you do.
It's part of
you
the
need
job.
to.
Yeah, exactly. We're training right now how to maximize and utilize AI.
Yes.
Ask me if I ever thought when I first got into coaching.
Have you messed around with that quite a bit or not?
A little bit. I'm learning. It's interesting.
I've been blown away with just some of the, I think I more ask it just random stuff after I hear someone say, I mean, they'll, have they'll have an AI create a closing on a property.
Right.
And I mean,
it's pretty good.
Better. Yeah. To where it's like, oh shit, that took 30 seconds, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. No, it's, and I think what I've been amazed with is, how we are, the lack of utilization on our part,
right,
as coaches. And then you look at a place like Millikin, like, we're not like Alabama, where we have a staff of 100 people just devoted to football.
Right.
So we have to find that edge.
Yeah.
And use all these different tools to create it. And it's exciting, but you got to be.
So you recruit technically from anywhere.
Yes. Yeah, I think now you're going to have the numbers, and the data all shows that you're going to have better retention, the closer you stay, to your home. And I think it's, you have to, in this day and age, recruit everywhere, but I think you have to know what your fit is. Like we talk about a Millikin man, like what does that mean? A lot of people say it, well, it's a certain GPA, certain characteristics, that we look for, like, when we're on the home visits, or you're on campus, if you're disrespecting mom and dad and all that, that's usually it's over,
right?
Because you just don't have time for that,
right?
And you don't want to surround yourself. That's the beauty of this recruiting piece, which I'm sure you're going to find with your own kids, is that when you get to that point, you have the ability to pick where you want to go, and we have the ability to take you or not.
Right.
So, and it's such a small window, this 4 to 5 year collegiate experience.
For sure.
So, and ideally, you don't want to have, like you alluded to earlier, all these transfers, because then you're just having a terrible experience.
Right.
Where one of the beauties of me lasting all 4 years at Quincy are the relationships that
I was going to say, by year 3, you had your best friends with you.
Exactly. And at the time, I'd be lying to you if I said, this is going to be the best thing from college, this relationship.
Right.
But now that I've gotten older,
right.
And they've been unbelievable. Sure. 2 of my best friends.
Right.
Ever. So, but I think, like, in this recruiting piece, it goes back to, you have to know what you want, how you're going to get it. And then, kind of like you said, having those realistic expectations,
right,
on what that all entails.
Yeah.
And not be wowed by the Twitter and the graphics.
Right.
And when I see it, blessed to receive this offer from blah, blah, blah,
right,
or God told me, well, I'm praying to the same God, and he told me that you should come here, and he's telling you to go there. So which God's right?
Which one? Yeah, stop.
So, exactly. So it's stuff like that.
Right. Oh, that's good stuff. I think that's how much work goes into building the people that are in them blue jerseys out there. It's a ton, dude. That's great.
Right. It takes
so you knew getting into this, like coming up here, did it register how much was going to be on your shoulders, or were you like, oh yeah, I was coming ready to roll? Or was it more like you said, you sat down at your desk and go, okay, I suppose we need to have a meeting.
Right, yeah. I think
got some kids around here that play football. Or
yeah. Well, and what was crazy at that time, it was like speed dating. I had like 10 minutes with each kid, because they were all leaving. They were done with finals.
Oh yeah.
So I was really just getting to know, our current roster, which that was crazy. And then, do
you take the time to meet everybody? I mean, is it like?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That was one of the best things I think. I did, looking back, was, what was it, the first 2-3, it was 3 days. It was just,
let them not go home going, I don't know what I'm about to get back into right now.
Because you had guys that were ready to enter the portal. They didn't know me. I didn't know them. So, and you don't want a mass exodus.
No.
You need the bodies, you need, and that's where I'll be forever grateful to this group, because they put a lot of trust in me.
Sure.
And gave me a chance to show them what we're all about, and I think hopefully the results will speak for themselves.
How many games is in a regular season?
10 and a bye week.
So do you go, obviously 10-0 would be great, right?
No doubt.
Do you go we have to win over half our games, or do you go, I don't know what we need to do, we're just going to do it every week? I mean, do you have something in your mind that at least you can fall back and go, hey, I just wanted to do this and we did it, even if I didn't do 10-0?
Yeah, I want to win them all.
Right.
You know, I love.
What was the record last year?
0-10.
No shit.
Yeah, they've been last 2 years 0-20.
Oh,
yeah,
you got it then.
You know, so that's the reality, and that's where a lot of people said, you know,
and you know that though.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
you know, some people said, hey, this is career suicide. Some people said, hey, you know, why would you leave the state of Texas where, you know, like there's that commitment.
Football,
we were happy there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was awesome. And I think, you know, I look back and I say, you know, a couple things to those people. One, when you tell me I can't do something, or I shouldn't, it's going to make me want to do it even more.
Right.
The competitor in me. And I think two, you know, being that this is home, excuse me, I know what this place is capable of. You know, I've been at Frank Lindsay Stadium when that place is rocking, you know, and they're hanging banners and winning championships and all that. So it's been done. And then the other thing, and I think, what gave me great hope, and you made a comment about it earlier, is that the other sports programs were experiencing a lot of success.
Yeah.
You know, like our softball team's hosting the College World Series in 2027.
That's sweet.
You know, the baseball's doing their thing. Wrestling, you know, is on their run. Basketball, you know. So it's, you know, and I don't want to speak ill of people before me.
No.
But I look at it and I said, okay, it's not a Millikin issue. It was, quote unquote, a football issue.
Yeah.
So then that's where it's like, you know, I get the chance to put our stamp on it and figure out, there comes a point you got to put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
You know, and it's either,
right.
I can go do it. I'm either going to succeed and we're going to succeed, or I'm going to fail. And, you know, you live with it. And people are like, oh my gosh, well, it is what it is. And,
you're like, no, I think there's some kids up here who need to feel like they need to win a little bit. Let me go help them do it.
Yeah. And that's where, like, you know, you can make a difference, you can make an impact. And, you know, and I like the challenge.
Oh, you're going to, I mean, I wish, I think you're going to do, I don't even know why. I just feel like you're going to make it do good.
I appreciate that.
And, they're going to love you for it.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Love you for it. You know? It's crazy how that works, but yeah. Well, and that's it. I don't know who the old coach was. Don't even care. But obviously he wasn't happy with how it was going also. Right. You know what I mean? I'm sure it was like a fuck.
No, they're
probably not going to have this job forever, you know?
Well, you know, and again, you don't know what was going on before you. Right?
For sure.
You don't know. So I can only look at where we're at, how we go about things.
Right.
And that's it. The past cannot help me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to learn from it.
Yeah.
I have to, you know, see, because there was some good, believe it or not. Like, it was like, oh, what good can you find in 0-20? There were some things, you know, maybe in the day-to-day operations, maybe in the scheduling, maybe in by way of recruiting. You're like, okay, I get why that was done. You know, that makes sense. You keep that going. And then you tweak and change the things that don't. Right. You know, and
really you're just taking the football what you've built from everywhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And kind of go, we're going to work towards perfect, obviously. Yeah. And see what happens.
No, and I think that's all you can do.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to, you know, everybody talks about the process and all that. That's more important, you know, than the result. It's making sure at the end of the day, everybody within your organization is doing their part to give you a chance.
Right.
Because and probably you've been the same way. You've been part of games, things where you knew you were the better team, the most talented, whatever, but things just don't always work out. You know, and here's what's crazy. The team you're going against, they're pretty good too. You know, so that's where that competition piece comes in. That's where I want kids that know how to compete, because when you get to a certain level, you know, the margin of error is so thin, where I'd rather have those guys that are mentally tougher, you know, disciplined, all of that, so you can overcome and at the end of the day get the result you want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I feel good about it. September 6th, you'll kick it off on the road. When you come home for the first time, do you know that?
September 20th. So it's a little different schedule. So we'll play week 1, that's September 6th. Then we have a bye week.
Oh, immediately.
Which that'll be interesting. That'll be a first.
Yeah.
And, then we'll open up at
players. If week 1 goes well, your bye week's not going to be terrible.
But, we'll see. But, that's September 20th. We're playing at night. Millikin has had a lot of day games.
Yeah.
And, coming where I'm coming from, the big games are played at night.
Yeah.
That's what I like. And,
that was part of your doing?
They were open to it.
Okay.
When we brought it up.
Let's get the lights on, man.
Yeah, they were
That's how
on
we
board
rock
and,
it.
Get Frank Lindsay, everybody tells me the tailgating at Millikin football game's a good time. So
even with 0 and 10.
Exactly.
Seriously.
That's what everybody says. Yeah. So we'll improve upon that. And I think we're doing some things with our game day atmosphere that the community is really going to love when those are announced. And, but at the end of the day, we have to put a great product out there to keep them coming back.
This is right.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
And I guess I picture college football. I guess you won't, when college football practice starts, I guess is when you'll see it. But I just picture just being a bunch of young, just top-notch dudes just wanting to win. That's all instead of be a great, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's.
You have a solid quarterback next year?
We got a couple.
Okay.
The competition's still ongoing. We had Joe Brummer.
Okay.
He transferred he's from St. Teresa, transferred to us from Illinois Wesleyan. Keith Gravely from Independence Junior College. We'll have some more transfers, coming in. So that competition will still be ongoing.
Yeah.
We always say the depth chart's written in sand, right?
No doubt.
Tide will come in and change it. If you don't produce, you get passed up.
We only got 10 tries.
Exactly, right? That's what makes it so special.
Yeah.
And so
you're right.
And that's why I think people care so much, because you put all this work in, and it's, I would argue the fewest opportunities in sport. And it's such a powerful game where you can determine people's happiness, for the next 6-7 days, or sadness. You know what I mean? So, and that's, some people say, oh, you're nuts or dramatic. But I just think it's what makes the game of football so special, so unique. You just can't get enough of, and I think it's what has captivated this country. And you're seeing the world.
Oh yeah.
With what the NFL is doing and all that. I mean, it's a powerful game. So we're just fortunate to be a part of it.
You just like have a football aura, dude. Like you are, you know what I mean? You can just see the passion. Well, you have to be passionate, but yeah, you clearly are. I think that's awesome. It makes me miss being involved in something like that, actually. But, well, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I just wanted to get you in here and chat with you a little bit. And, you're going to be on some social media now.
I appreciate it. No, that's awesome.
No, but hey, good luck to you, man, this year. I have a good feeling about you bringing that team around. And I think on the 20th, you're going to have that place packed for whatever happens.
I hope so. So everybody come on out, Decatur, and support it. And
you need a house and some 10 wins and a house. That's what we need this year.
That's it, right? Easy
Simple.
checklist. Easy checklist.
No, but hey, thanks a lot, man, for coming in for your time. And of course, me and probably everyone will be keeping tabs on you because it's going to be in the paper.
Awesome. It will be. It will be. It'll be everywhere.
No, but thank you. And thank you all for joining me on another episode. Until next time, be kind to one another. See ya. Sweet. Hey, everybody. Now, that was a good one right there. Before you close it out, before you go to the next, let me get a quick last minute, to shout out the sponsors one more again. Aerial Elite Solutions specializes in providing high-quality aerial imagery and data for a variety of industries, including real estate, construction, agriculture, and more. Whether your needs stunning photos to showcase a property, detailed site surveys for your construction projects, or captivating footage of your events, Aerial Elite Solutions has the expertise and cutting-edge technology to deliver exceptional results. So if you're ready to take your business to new heights, literally, reach out to Aerial Elite Solutions today. Visit them at flyaes.com or give them a call at 217-330-7226 to learn how they can help you transform your projects with their drone services. Imagine a powerful app that transforms your longer videos into engaging bite-sized reels that not only capture attention, but also promote your brand, your business, or even you. Most of you have seen the Beyond Business reels of past guests or even me flowing through your feed as you scroll. Well, I'd love to take credit for the hard work of editing, clipping, captioning, posting on multiple platforms multiple times per week, but Opus Clip does it all for me. With Opus Clip, you don't have to be a video editing whiz to create stunning clips that resonate with your audience. This intuitive app does all the heavy lifting for you, automatically crafting highlights that shine perfect for social media, marketing campaigns, or simply sharing your creative genius with the world. Are you ready to elevate your content game? Head over to the link in the description or scan this QR code right here next to my face and begin to unlock the full potential of Opus Clip. Let your creativity flow and watch your engagement soar. So what are you waiting for? Scan that code, click the link, and start creating. Your brand deserves to shine, and Opus Clip is here to do just that. Midwest Lightning Rods specializes in creating customized solutions tailored to your specific needs, ensuring your home is a safe haven during the storms. Their dedicated team understands the importance of safety and offers free estimates to help you decide the best protection for your property. Don't leave your safety to chance. Reach out to Midwest Lightning Rods today and give yourself the peace of mind of knowing that you're well protected this storm season. Visit lightningstrikes-weprotect.com or give them a call at 217-872-4676 to learn more about how they can be a part of the community that's protected by Midwest Lightning Rods. Once again, thank you very much to the sponsors. Thank you very much to you guys for following, for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I ask you to please do so. And until next time, everybody be easy, be kind to one another. Have a good one.
New episode every 5 days, new voices to share, laughs and insights, we're all in this affair. Beyond business.